Hilula,
Hey,
the day.
I'm sorry, I need to go.
The day of the Hilula, the Yortzeit of Rashbi, Nisyached lo Ma'amad Miyuchad. It's designated for him this tremendous ma'amad, this tremendous what Klal Yisrael does for Rashbi's Yortzeit is Shalom Atzinu Kedugmasoi B'Shar Tzadikim V'Tanoim. We don't find anything like this from the other tzaddikim or the Tanoim, Ba'amarom, Asher Yisrael, Me'enam Nevi'im, B'nei Nevi'im Heim. That, meaning there's a lot of confusion to exactly what happened on this Yortzeit, but there's something special. There's no question that there's something special on Lag BaOmer because there's the idea, like the Gemara says, that if we're not prophets, we're sons of prophets, or like the Gemara says, that if we don't see, our mazel sees, meaning if all of Klal Yisrael is flocking, and as the time goes on, it gets bigger and bigger, it means that there's something here on a deep level. It means that Lag BaOmer is something unique and something special because Klal Yisrael, we have a certain chush, we have a certain sense, we have a certain way of, the Chazon Ish actually says a similar thing with regards to the Masorah, that how do we know like the Masorah, like who's part of the Masorah, who's not? Meaning if Klal Yisrael has been taking on certain paths for years and generations, and it's just been going up, and more Klal Yisrael says that we have a certain siyata d'shmaya of keeping the things which are true and spitting out the things which are not true. There's a certain siyata d'shmaya, there's a certain hashgacha when all of Klal Yisrael is involved in something. And therefore, the fact that all of Klal Yisrael is involved in Lag BaOmer, or a huge percentage of Klal Yisrael is connected, it means that there's something unique here. That Klal Yisrael has a desire to cling and to cleave to the light of Rashbi. The Roy Levar, Goydel Kedushas Hayom, Ma Roy, Ma Ro, Kocha. And therefore, because there's something so unique that we find by Rashbi and that we find by Lag BaOmer, which we don't find by any of the Tanoim or Amoram, it's worth explaining a little who Rashbi was and what the whole inyan is. V'hine, and behold, al Rashbi nemru hamadregos hal yonim b'yoser. With Rashbi, you look through the Zohar, you look through.
He's gonna drop them. He's gonna drop them. These are crazy ones.
Who?
He's about to say.
Oh yeah, he's about to drop some big ones. But throughout the Zohar and throughout the Gemara, we find crazy, huge revelations about the greatness of how great Rashbi was, which we don't find by other tzaddikim. Kedisa b'Zohar HaKadosh, like it's brought in the Zohar HaKadosh, the Ksiv, like it says. I spoke a little bit about this last night. Sholish pomim b'ashana yera kol zechorcha es pnei Adon Hashem. That 3 times a year, we know that there's a mitzvah in the Torah, 3 times a year to be oil regel, and to go to the face of Hashem, which is the Beis Hamikdash. And the Zohar says, "Man pnei Adon Hashem." Who is the face of Hashem? Who is the face of the Master of Hashem? The Rashbi. Rashbi is the face of Hashem. Whoa, that's a powerful line. We spoke about that. I spoke at least my understanding of what that is yesterday. I mean, we could talk about that if you didn't hear it, we could speak.
What else is he called? Some more juicy ones.
Rashbi Nikra Shabbos. It's also brought in the Zohar that he's called Shabbos. Uhoya Nishmas Moshe Rabbeinu. When the Zohar says Masha Hoya Hu Sheyiyah,
and he's writing about himself, right?
No, either his Talmidim or he dictated it to them for sure. There's no problem. There's no problem.
Like the Ish Moshe Anav Me'oid. And everybody asked the question, how could he say such a thing? How could Moshe say he was such an Anav? Because he was an Anav. Maybe someone else wrote it.
It's funny.
He was still able to be an Anav. So
not he was still able. Dafka through, meaning the Gemara had, there's a Gemara where Rabbah passed away, and Abaye says, Anivos, there's no more Anivos in the world. And Rav Yosef stands up and says, what are you talking about?
No, what about me?
I'm here. Anivos is not, Anivos being a true Anav is not, I'm sorry,
Denying self.
denying
worth.
who you are. A true Anav knows exactly who he is. A true Anav knows that he's the leader of Klal Yisrael, and at the same time knows that it's all a gift from Hashem. He's completely secure and he completely knows his role. And Anav is not someone who is disillusioned with his capabilities and the talents that Hashem gave him in this world. And Rashbi knew exactly who he was. Actually, I was listening to a speech and someone said, you know, and his Talmidim wrote it, and I sent him quickly. I was like, what are you talking about? Who says? Rashbi said it. What's the big deal? As Rebelli just pointed out, he said, absolutely, for sure. But not everyone has a Breslov background. So he sent back to me. But so good on. But anyways, but basically it even says in the Zohar that Rashbi saw things that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't see, which needs to be understood because we know that Moshe Rabbeinu was the Navi Mikol.
So you have Rashbi saying he's better than Moshe Rabbeinu. You have Rabbi Nachman saying he's better than Rashbi. And
not better.
I'm exaggerating.
Not better, but that they're all chidushim, and the fact that they say it straight out is not a problem. And Oid Isa Sham, Sharashbi Nikra Shabbos, right? We just said that Rashbi is called Shabbos. He calls himself the Neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu, and that's what the Ben Ish Chai says. How is Rashbi able to say that he had ideas that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't see? Because and the Ben Ish Chai says because he was Moshe Rabbeinu. It was the Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama coming back and having, as Mashahayu Shia, that this pashtus of the Moshe b'chol dar v'dar, that Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama goes out through the generations. Meidach matzinu, and so that's one aspect. Meidach, on the other side, matzinu b'seder yimei asfira asher amida shal yoma dehilula of lag ba'omer hu hoid shebahoid. And on the other hand, so we have all these tremendous madregas of who Rashbi was. Rashbi was like the highest. And we don't find any praises, like he says, you don't have to go anywhere. The Gemara says that he has the ability to pater the whole world from din. He says that me and my son, Rabbi Eliezer, it's worth it that the whole world was created for us. He says that, like we just read that, and which is understood al Pisai, that he was saying that specifically through me, the Torah will not be forgotten. You don't have to go anywhere. The Gemara says his praises. But what the Nesivas Shalom brings in is that Hoid Shebahoid is known throughout the Kabbalistic Sfarim, which is the Midah of Lag Ba'omer, as being the lowest Midah. Harumezas al Shval HaMadriga, which is hinted to the lowest Madriga. Just to understand it, Yehuda Ray spoke beautifully yesterday, and he was talking about how Hod Shabahod, what's the idea of Hod? What's the idea of thanks? What's the idea of gratitude? The idea of true gratitude, first of all, Hodaya, and to be Moda, to admit, are the same thing. Which is, when you admit and when you thank someone, you're giving another person room to exist. You're saying, thank you, I need you. Meaning, there's me and there's you, and we both exist. And there's room for both of us. And on a deeper level, Hod Shebahod is the place where Hashem, so to speak, gives us room to exist, where he removes himself. It's the tzimtzum, where he removes himself, so to speak, completely to give us room. Meaning, Hod Shebahod is that place which seems void of God, which is this world, in order to give another to exist, which is gives the ability for Hod Mamish glory, for us to become a glorified human being. But at the same time, it could be scary. It's far. It's scary to be distant from Hashem. It's that place of another. And that's where Lag Ba'omer is. Lag Ba'omer falls out on Hod Shebahoid. Who could the Divrei Shmuel, like it's brought in Divrei Shmuel, why is it that Rashbi falls out on Hod Shebahod? Because the light of Rashbi is so great. Because the light of Rashbi is so light and so great that it reaches the deepest places, it reaches the lowest places. Panemius HaTorah reaches the lowest of the low. It gives room for statements like we said, Ein Shom Yesh Ba'olam Klal. It gives room for Reb Nachman to open and say that there's no room, there's no place of despair. There is no such thing as despair because you are always connected to God. That's what the aura of Rashbi, that's the light of Rashbi, like he says, it infuses even the darkest, the lowest places, like Reb Nachman says, then the lowest place in the world, even seemingly the places which are Avera and stuff like that, they also have to be sustained by God. And not only are they sustained by God, but they're sustained by the highest, so to speak, the highest place of God, which is Keser, which is Aye, which from that, everything else comes from. Just like the light of a sun gives light to everywhere, so too Rashbi's Torah gives light to everywhere. And just like tzaddikim say, the kol kama shatzadik godol yoser, that however the greater the tzaddik is, mesugal lev rosha yoser godol. It is more mesugal. It is more, I don't know how to translate it. It's more proper, or it's possible for him to love a Rasha. The higher, the greater the tzaddik is, he has the ability to love the Rasha more. Ki oirei harav yored umera afilu l'rasham, because his great light comes down and gives light to even the Rasham. Al kain melech HaMashiach, and therefore the Mashiach we're all waiting for, Yavas Agrua b'Yisrael, he'll love even the lowest of the low. Just like the greatest tzaddik has the ability to love. And that's where Nachman says that the greater the tzaddik you are, if you're a tzaddik emes, a true tzaddik has the ability to tell the highest tzaddikim how far they are from Hashem, and the lowest people how close they are. And the chazan, like in Reish Pei Beis of Reb Nachman, which is the ability to find nekudas tovos, the tzaddik has the ability to find that good and to ignite that good within every single Jew. We find that also by Moshe Rabbeinu. Who he reached the climax of all levels. B'tmunas Hashem Yavit, and he stared, so to speak, into the face or to the picture of Hashem. And he was also the, as Rebbe Ali said before, he was the Onav, he was Mamish the most, he was the Onav Mikol Adam. And in the Chet HaEgel, Im Ki Hoya Chet Noira, it was Mamish, was the worst thing in the world. I don't know if it's Chet HaMazeh or Chata HaMazeh, that the nation sinned, Chata Gedola, tremendous sin, and Apal Pikein. And nevertheless, Bikesh, he asked, Im Tisa Chatason, that if you'll, Moshe Rabbeinu daven to Hashem to remove their Chet, if not, erase me from your Sefer. That Moshe Rabbeinu, because he was so great, he loved Klal Yisrael even in their lowest times. That he said he was willing to put his life on the line. That he was willing to give his soul up. Because specifically, because he had such a high neshama, he was able to love Klal Yisrael more. He was able to love the lowest of the low, to the point where he loved them so much where he was able to give up his neshama for them. Rashbi, and similarly Rashbi, Shu Nishmas Moshe Rabbeinu, who is the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu. His great light comes and illuminates the lowest places. Ad bechinas hod shebahoid, until even that place of hod shebahoid, even that low place of hod where we are so, it's that space where, which is mamish void of God, so to speak. And the Or of Rashbi comes and says, no, Hashem is with you right there. Harav HaKodesh Baal Beis Aaron Zal, like Rabbi Aaron Carlino wrote, Ma Kodesh Baruch Hu Kol Af Reb Shimon Lakol. Just like Hashem is for everyone, so too Rashbi is for everyone. Hainu Shameir Lakol, that is that his Torah, that he illuminates down to the lowest of the low. Afilu le'elu shehem betachlis shval hamatzav. Even to those who are mamish on the lowest of the low, Primus HaTorah penetrates down there. Zedi Isa, this that is brought. Sha'omar Rashbi, Yochel ani liftar es kol ha'olam kulei min adin. And this that Rashbi writes, that I have the ability to pater the whole world from din. Ki tzadik kazeh ha'olev es kol Yehudi, that a tzaddik like this that loves every single Jew, hari mida keneged mida, yesh bi'achote lifol liftar es kol ha'olam min adin. He has the ability, measure for measure. Because he loves them so much, I mean, the way I understand this is because he loves them so much, he has the ability he is the best lawyer. He has the ability to be matzdik every single year. He's able to find and illuminate that good point of every single Jew and shine it bright.
The more you love the Torah, the more it should increase the love of your fellow. If you see someone quote unquote loves the Torah but is berating other people all the time, maybe not. I don't know.
100%. 100%. And look,
it goes together, right?
100%. 100%.
So that's the Shayla, the Shiloh that's coming up.
That's Mamish the Shiloh which is coming up.
But if he was such a big tzaddik that shines like the sun, and he's able to even love the lowest of the low and give them koyach, then how in the world could he burn someone up for collecting wheat or something?
For plowing the fields.
Something horrible on Shabbos.
No, Stam.
Oh.
What are you talking about? He was just plowing the field. He was just a simple guy.
Just plowing a field.
He was just plowing the field.
How dare he leave Chayel Maba and be Isaac and Chayesha?
Exactly. And thank you so much for introducing the next paragraph of rebellion. You're the highest. Mamish. So that's Mamish what he says. And based off what we just said, now we can understand what actually happened in the story on Shabbos Lamed Gimel. You'll always remember this Gemara because it's on Daf Lamed Gimel, Amud Beis and Shabbos. It's Lag Boimer. Talks about Rashbi's story about coming out of the cave is on Daf Lamed Gimel and Shabbos. So, oh wow, you could do that. That's nice. That helps. Oh, hold on. How do I?
Just keep smiling.
Does everyone see? I just want to make sure that.
No, I can't see the whole thing now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the top right, there's like a minus.
Hold on. Wait 1 second. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Minus magnifying glass. That's
yeah.
Plus.
Let's see if we could.
No, that was good before.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's a little better. Yeah. So the Or Hanal, and based off of what we've just been saying, Yesh Lafarish HaKavana B'Gemara. You can understand the intention of the Gemara that says Shekasher Yotzu Rashbi Rabbi Elazar B'noi Me'amoro, that when Rashbi and Rabbi Elazar, his son, left the cave, Chozu Inche Dekah Krovi Vazari, he saw people who were plowing and planting their fields. And Rashbi said, Omar Manichin Chaya Olam Oiskin B'Chaya Shah, what are you doing? You're leaving the eternal world and you're being involved in just this world, chayesha, life, which is just for an hour, for a minute. And kol mokum shenois l'meinei miyad nisraf, and every single place where they would place their eyes, burn. Can you imagine? Zap, 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 boom, coming out of Rashbi, meaning that was gavur, that was intense. And hodar ozul isvu tres ayar cheshasa. They went back into the cave for another 12 months, and Amri Mishpat, and they said, it says in the Gemara that Mishpat Rishon begehenim Yud Beis Chodesh. And the Gemara says that.
What about the first Baskol? How come it's not quoting the first Baskol that came out?
He said V'chulei, right? So I'm sorry, a Baskol came out and said, "Go back. What are you doing? I let you out of your cave to do this. Get back into your cave." So they went back into their cave for another 12 months. And the Gemara says that the Mishpat of Rishon, it calls Rashbi and his son Rishon for their level, as he's going to say, for the fact, and the Mishpat of Gehenim is for 12 months, and Yosso Baskol v'Amra Tzumim Araseichem. Then another Baskol came out and said, "Leave, go out from your cave." And these words are wondrous, and we have to understand. Why does it say these words? Why is it this expression of Mishpat Rishon al Atzman that it uses, that they said about themselves that this is a din where we get the ruling of a Russia. And based off what we said, because at first they burnt the whole world through their kedusha. But what they saw through this was there's a big blemish. If you're going around the world knocking everyone out because you're so kaddish, that's a big problem. That's a pagam. Because of based off of how great they were, they need to be able to handle someone who's that kaddish, a tzaddik of that level, a Moshe Rabbeinu who saw the Chet HaEgel. He needs to be able to handle. He needs to be able to handle those who are sinning. He needs to be able to handle the lowest of the low. Because they're also included within Klal Yisrael. They're the holiest of the holy. And based off the level of who Rashbi was. They found that, and they looked at themselves as if they needed these 12 months of going to the cave was an expression of Gehenna. It was an expression of Gehenna. And they needed another 12 months. They needed another 12 months in the cave. In order to get to the level where they love every single yid. Ari, basically, you came mamish at the perfect time because this is dealing with your question.
Yeah, I'm sorry I ran out. It's the middle of work day.
Meaning, Rabbi Ari asked, what do you mean? Rashbi is there for everyone. He came out of the thing and he burnt everyone. That's serious gevura. And basically, specifically because they came out and they burnt everyone, the Gemara says that they viewed it as Mishpat Rishon Begehenim Yud Beis Chodesh. That they viewed it that the reason why they needed to return to the cave was because they were like Rishon. The fact that they were so great and they weren't able to be soivel, they weren't able to handle every single year.
So then they had to go back in 12 months, and then another 12 months they had to go in even to get to the level, not just to get rid of the hate, but to bring in the love.
Exactly, mamish. To get to the level where they're able to not only be civil, to be that they're able to mamish find and to be pater the whole world from din. Like it says that Rashbi was the one that had the ability to pater the whole world from din. He said, because of me. And he also says in the Zohar that Hashem makes a gezerah and Rashbi comes and knocks out that gezerah. He's that bechina of Moshe or the nishmas of Moshe, who has the ability to say in Ein mocheni no misifrecha, that even though you just sinned, even though you just did the Chet HaEgel, even though you just mamish fell, I got your back because I love you so much. That is what the role of a tzaddik is. The role of a tzaddik.
Today he came out of the cave?
No, today he died.
Today's his yard site. Okay.
Hilula.
The
He
heat.
was born also on this day.
He was born also. So there you go.
I think so.
But that is who Rashbi is. The Chassidish Sfarim give a little. It says in the Gemara, "Kedai lismoich al Reb Shimon b'shas atchak." It's kedai to rely on Reb Shimon at a time of pressing time. Reb Shimon is the one you go to when you need some help. Reb Shimon is the one that got your back even in the low times.
It seems to be here that he's saying about that opinion of Rav Meir that the sinners of the Poshe Yisrael are Malayim Mitzvahs Geriman. Because as soon as you're Nichlal and Klal Yisrael, even if you're Menichin Chayela Maba for Chayesha, you still are more than filled with the delicious pomegranates.
That's right. That's right. Mamish. Yeah.
It seems like it's also comparing, if the Rashbi was the Gilgal of Moshe Rabbeinu, and it was trying to compare Moshe Rabbeinu. And I was trying to think, what did he do in the same light of what the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai did? But he caused people to die, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and he had to go back into the cave. And he didn't have patience with everybody of Hashem's creations. In a similar way, I don't know if it's brought down anywhere. I was just thinking, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have patience when he was talking to the rock. He was speaking to the rock, and they were still complaining, and he couldn't have the same patience with them. So he hit the rock because they were complaining too much, and for that he couldn't go into Eretz Yisrael. So I was kind of thinking maybe it's a similar type of comparison with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
I hear.
I would suggest another thing is that when they came out of the cave, like you mentioned, they looked at people and Mamish burnt them up. And they came out of the cave of 12 years, Mamish, a close kesher with Hashem. Similarly, Moshe Rabbeinu was on Har Sinai for 40 days. He was alone. He was learning Torah. And he came out and he had a Karen Arpanav. He had light shining from his face that people couldn't even look at the rest of his life. He walked around with a veil.
Right. That's what we just saw. We just brought the Zer that said that Rashbi was the Pnei Odin Hashem. That Rashbi is the face. Rashbi is the one that reflected into the world godliness. Hey, Ramorty.
Of course he knows your name. He's like, he knows my name?
That's right. And look what he
Because
says.
he loves you.
May high time on. Rashbi also does. May high time on because of this. Klal Yisrael mizdabik saviv va'ori shalatana leki Rashbi. And because of this, because Rashbi has our back, because Rashbi loves us so much, Klal Yisrael gravitates towards Rashbi. Hameir b'miyuchad b'yom ha'deilula dilay, who illuminates specifically on his yahrzeit. Ki Reb Shimon lakol.
Bless you.
What?
Saying bless you.
Oh, gesundheit. I didn't hear.
Are you like Mamish feeling? When's the last time you missed Lag Bomer and Meiron?
Oh, Mamish, I'm feeling it.
You're feeling it.
I don't remember the last time I missed. I mean, I think I've been ever since I've been.
What's gonna be Rosh Hashanah?
That's a good question. Don't know. I think since 11th grade I've been going.
Wow.
No, even 10th. I don't know. But
I've never gone.
what? Oh my gosh. Next time.
This year
Huh?
This year I would go. I heard it's empty.
It's part of it. That's what we say. Omer Rabbi Kiva Ashrei.
I saw someone said, I don't usually go to Minyan, but when I do, it's during a pandemic.
Give out.
So I hear you're saying though. So Rashbi's Talmud was Reb Meir, right?
No,
Not Reb Meir. I'm sorry, Rabbi Akiva.
no, the opposite.
He-
Rebbe.
He was a Talmud of Rabbi Akiva.
Yeah,
So, okay. He was one of the five.
he's one of the five, one of the big five.
What was just timeline wise? Was he in the cave during the pandemic of Rabbi Akiva's time?
No, the reason why I went into the cave, I think, was because of the Rome,
He was,
whatever.
he was running away from the Romans. I know.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good call.
I'm saying, but is that the same time that they died though? I know it wasn't because of that.
I mean, it's brought in Aloha very interestingly that the reason why Lag Baimer is also a celebration, which is, you could ask the question, was because it's the day when
They stopped dying. Hello?
He
He
froze.
froze.
He froze, yeah.
Wow, what a face.
it's like there was no one left.
Oh, there you go. You froze. Right, that's what I oh, what a simcha. That
By the way, Mike,
they stopped dying. What a simcha, they stopped dying. Yeah, no kidding, they stopped dying because there's no one left to die. It's similar to when they buried the people at Beitar. It's like what a yom tov.
Right, yeah, right. That's how Toiva Ametiv, right? Hashem is so good that he let the bodies not decompose and he let us bury them.
Well, it would have been nicer if you let him live, you know?
I'm sorry, what happened? I just missed you guys all. I was
I
stuck.
know you got froze.
The pre-Chodesh,
Keep freezing. Psachia, we love you.
He's frozen.
Brain freeze.
Yes, Chuck.
They've eaten too much ice cream.
You
Back?
Keep freezing, Psachia. You're back, yeah.
people are moving. Yeah? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Back.
Get frozen? Back. Here we go.
Right. So
Rob,
you were saying,
you said
Zaki, you were saying, like, what's the simcha? Is the simcha that everybody's dead, so they stop dying? Everybody's dead.
Right. So the pre-Chodesh says because Rabbi Akiva didn't give up. Most people in that time, imagine after 24,000 Talmidim died, you're done. And Rabbi Akiva said, no giving up. And he went further and he got his 5 Talmidim and he continued Tarsh Peh from them. So the pre-Chodesh says. That's a tremendous simcha. It's a tremendous simcha that Rabbi Akiva didn't give up. Can you imagine?
Meaning, the stomach, they weren't happy in Lag Baimer at his times. But now, as a concept, we can be happy thousands of years later. There's no way Rabbi Akiva was happy that he was able to continue.
Right. I mean, he needed, there was something, I wouldn't call it happy. Meaning, by the way,
Who is Miyasid?
By the way, just talking about that, meaning I just saw, unfortunately, there was a 21-year-old soldier which was murdered.
I heard about
this morning.
Hashem
Yikam Damov and Klal Yisrael Amit Ben something. And Klal Yisrael, I just saw from Shlomo Katz. That's how I found out about it.
Oh, he's frozen. No hands, buddy. No hands. You want a cup? I'll give you a cup.
Back.
Back.
That Klal Yisrael, we have the ability to, on one hand, feel the pain and celebrate at the same time. And it's true for Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, I don't know if you want to say that he was celebrating, but he knew that what he had to do. He knew that he had to continue Klal Yisrael, and by him getting another 5 Talmidim, that's great.
Right, he always looked at it half full, the story when he was with the other people by Harabayas, he saw the wolves and
the fox.
And he's laughing.
And everybody was crying, and he was laughing.
Right.
And he wasn't just the guy who said, oh, it's all going to be okay, but I'm not going to put in any work. He worked his butt off so it would all be okay.
Right. Mamish. And so, like, it's a day of simcha, the fact that Torah Shabbat Peh continued. Like, on a very poshut level, Lag BaOmer is the day where Torah Shabbat Peh, Rabbi Kiva said, I'm not giving up, and Torah Shabbat Peh is moving forward.
But you compare it to, it's like, like a country goes to a war of independence, right? So they fight this big war against this greater enemy. America fought England, a greater enemy, and then they won. But they lost thousands of people, but they won their freedom. So even though we mourn the death, they're happy.
Right.
I have to run. I have to take this call. Goodbye, guys. Thank you.
So let's just finish up. From this reason, for this reason, Klal Yisrael cleaves and clings to the light of Rashbi, which illuminates specifically on his yahrzeit, because Reb Shimon's for everyone. Kol Yehudi Mesugel Iskariv El Hashem Yisrach Mikayach Urish Rashbi, and every single Jew has the ability to connect to Hashem through specifically the light of Rashbi. And this is also the great holiness of his tzion, of his kever. Asher im ki ein itanu yodea ma lahagid b'kedushas hamokim, and that ki ein itanu yodea, because there is not with us someone that knows. Everyone, maybe I'm reading it wrong. Asher im kain, that if so, ein itanu, there is not with us. Or Isanu, I don't know. There's no one here that could say how great, or who knows how great his kever is. That our eyes have seen tremendous things that have happened with Jews there. That so many Yidden came close to Hashem, specifically by his kever. Which that place has a specific koyach to illuminate mamish godliness into the world and to open us up.
Can I just say a big shout out to Yeshivas Simcha Shlomo and Psachia and all the Habibs and all the Futtermans for keeping the or of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai burning even in the times of this craziness, and online posting shiurim on Facebook, on Zoom. Great Torah from the Zareh of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Great, right here.
Yeshikach Rebelli, Mamish. Thanks so much for putting that out there. And thank you so much for being you. Look at that beautiful smile. You don't even have to say anything. You could just smile and it's all good. And we're all good. And so Mamish, thank you all. There's a little more, but I think we'll call here. We did a nice amount. And Mamish, we should be zeicha to really get Pnimius HaTorah in our veins, in our blood, and to really connect to Hashem even in these dark times.
Amen.
Kavadatano Lekai, Reb Shimon. Alles gepult, alles good. That's it, baby.
Nice to see everybody.
Shkoyach, guys. Shkoyach, Psachia.